Why do cities even exist in the first place? I mean, it seems like an odd question, but if you consider the logistical nightmare that cities represent, it's a fair one. I mean, with their high rises, restaurants, theaters, bustling commerce, and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people all living in a relatively small space on the map, cities are often seen as the source of a nation's civilization. But they're not the source of civilization. They're actually a consequence of it. That's what the economist Frederick Bastiat realized when he asked an important question. How does Paris get fed? Because you don't just magically start with culture and commerce suddenly appearing out of nowhere. In fact, when you think about it, these incredible examples of civilization are incredibly dependent on things outside the city for their very existence. As the ancient Sumerians once said, things may be traded in the city, but it's the fisherman who brings in the food supply. So who does bring in the food supply? Is it politicians, bureaucrats? Is there a government department that's in charge of making sure the grocery stores are stocked full every morning? No. As Bastiat noted, Paris got fed because thousands of people made it happen all on their own without any government direction. The fisherman brings in the food not because he's mandated to, but because he chooses to. And he's rewarded for his efforts with a price signal that tells him this is something worth doing. In short, he does it because he gets paid. And we call this a profit. But every now and then, someone looks at these profits and argues that it's unfair or unjust that feeding people should be a business. It should be a public service. They turn around and elect politicians who claim the government should manage the food supply and guarantee that everyone gets a meal. But Paris wasn't getting fed through central planning, and for good reason. Because when we look at the history of the places where food distribution is centrally planned by politicians and bureaucrats, we see bread lines, ration books, and even famine. And what's so crazy and honestly frustrating about Bastiat's revelation is just how simple and timeless it is. And yet, for some reason, we constantly seem to forget it. We pass laws, print money, and make sweeping speeches about eliminating poverty and feeding the hungry through government. But no law has ever caught a fish. So the next time a politician tells you the answer is more central planning or more government control, ask them this: who actually feeds the city? Because it isn't them.